さん、こんにちは。私の名前はレイブンさん。Today is going to be a video which I just came up with the idea today on reasons why I want to go to Japan. I know this is nothing having to do with Goth, except in some ways, yes, some ways, no, but there's no right or wrong with this video. So, the first I will start with is anime number 1. Which I had to write it down because when I have video ideas, I tend to write it down or else I forget. Sometimes I have to read it or else, I'm not going to remember everything, but then, I'll probably add some stuff here and there that wasn't written down, which I tend to do. So, alright, anime, yes. Although, that should not be the only reason to go to Japan, just for the anime, because, yeah, that's very disrespectful, basically, to their culture if you go there just for the anime thing, because basically, I don't know, I really like their culture overall. So let's just cover the anime part. Anime is the first thing that got me into Japan, that brought me in slowly. Basically from age 4, it was Sailor Moon, and then, as I started aging, Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, etc. Stuff like that. And then, from anime, goes me into listening to the music, like the opening credits and the ending credits, the Japanese ones. I mean, in some animes they have the English ones, but I'm talking about the Japanese ones, like J-pop, J-rock, stuff like that. Actually, J-pop first, of course. So yeah, it got me into J-pop, so I started discovering more and more of J-pop, and then from there, when YouTube was around, when I got my first computer, it was for everybody at the house. I started discovering J-rock, so I went on from there. So yeah, listening to the music, watching the anime, just overall, I find just Japanese culture to be really, really beautiful. I really admire their culture a lot. So yeah, stuff like Sailor Moon, stuff like that, and then, before the J-rock, of course there's the J-pop, but before J-rock, I'm going to go back to, middle school. 7th grade was the first time that I actually picked up a manga, the books that I didn't even know that you have to read it, a different way than how we read our books in America, left to right or right to left, but I didn't know that. But I learned very quickly from there. But my first manga that I read was in 7th grade, and that manga was called Fruit Basket. And then something Ray Earth, I can't remember. In high school I used to read a whole lot of manga too, because my library was full of it, and we had a lot of people in school that loved anime and reading the manga. I could finish probably maybe 5 or 6 mangas within a school day, while I'm in school, return them, and then check out some more, because I read all of my books during class, even though I still did my work, still passing the classics, so that wasn't an issue there. So yeah, all that was some of the reasons that made it progress to why I want to go to Japan, or actually liking the culture first. I didn't actually want to go to Japan until later, but it made me, progress more into, getting into the culture. Language. Now, for the language, I started learning at 13 years old. In middle school, I was actually self-taught, basically. I read the English-Japanese part of it, for example, watashi wa no name ha, which is my name is. The English, you know, W-A-P-H. W-A-P-H. Watashi. No, T-A, not H, T-A, sorry, T-A-S-I, no, S-H-I, watashi, wa, W-A, no, N-O, name, N-A-M-A-E, ha, H-A, or wa, because you can use that too, W-A, yeah. Watashi wa no name ha or wa. And then you just put your name in there. For example, Raven. But except for the Japanese English part of it is R-E-I-V-U-N, which still sounds like Raven. That's what's considered the English Japanese. Watashi wa no name ha or wa. You know. Not the actual like readings like the kanji and hiragana and katakana. That part I'm still struggling with, but I'm learning little by little with that still now. But yeah, I basically self-taught myself. Internet, books, which I do have books still, and watching animes. I watched whatever animes came on TV. I watched those because they came out dubbed. But certain animes that I watch online, I cannot even go back and watch it dubbed because it just doesn't sound right. But for the ones that were subbed, like in Japanese words, you pick up a few words here and there. You can start learning from anime too, or even a Japanese TV shows. You can pick up words from there, just like how I'm learning Korean from watching Korean drama. So yeah, I basically self-taught myself the language, as far as that goes. Yeah, so as far as that goes, self-taught. But I do also like other Asian cultures, like Korean culture, which I'm getting into, South Korean. Not much. Or like some Chinese culture. I do like some Chinese culture, and like Taiwan, which is kind of similar a little bit. I'm not gonna say it is because you know I don't know everything, so I will admit to that. So yeah. Now for fashion, I do love the fashion part, like the cosplays for like animes, or like the Goth Lolita, especially because of me being goth. Like in the goth subculture, I like goth fashion. They do have different types of Lolita fashions, which I like some of the other cutesy kind of Lolita fashions because, you know, depending on my mood, I would wear, you know, other Lolita fashions probably versus just wearing goth Lolita. Because goth Lolita is the fashion is kind of similar to Victorian fashion, which I also like within the subculture. Like, I do like the frilly black dresses and all that stuff, and coats and stuff like that. Or like, because of watching J-Rock / Visual K-Band videos, a lot of their fashions were kind of unique to me, and I actually liked it. Very different. It's not like, I mean, it would be something weird to wear around here, especially Florida, because people already look at me weird enough because of me wearing, like, my goth fashion. But, I do like those types of fashions. So yeah, the fashion part of it is something that I really do like when it comes to those types of fashions. Not just any fashion, really. I also like kimono. I actually have a real Japanese kimono in my closet, not in this room, but in the guest room in the house. That's where I put all my colorful clothes for different occasions, because my clothes in this room, a lot of my wardrobe is nothing but black clothing, so I don't really have a whole lot of color. So yeah, I also like Hello Kitty because Hello Kitty is a Japan thing because it's by Sanrio. And I recently have been getting into Rilakuma, yeah, which is like a teddy bear looking character. I just think it's so cute, kawaii. So, yeah. I also like Yukatas, which is like, they have like summer kimonos, and they have wedding kimonos, they have, you know, different occasions kind of kimonos, traditional, stuff like that. I do love wearing kimonos. A lot. Now for the maid / cosplay cafes, anime cafes, or just normal ramen noodle shops, which I have been told, or so I have heard, once you go to Japan to have tried Japan's real ramen versus Americanized processed ramen shit here, you don't want to go back to that. You want to, I mean, because, you know, actually from that country that you're, like, eating their ramen, which, their ramen is so good. So yeah, I want to go to a maid cafe because they have, like, lots of foods and different kinds of foods that I'd like to try. I'd like to go to cosplay cafes, anime cafes, vampire cafes, stuff like that. Sightseeing. Alright, sightseeing. I would like to go to, like, the shrines and stuff. I would probably be taking, like, lots of pictures when I go there, or if I go there, whenever I go there someday. Or, like, the castles, like the old castles. You can't go in all of the castles or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure you can take pictures and just, you know, enjoy it. I'd like to go to, like, a lot of Japanese festivals and just, like, go to different parts of Japan for, like, sightseeing, just enjoying, like, the views and taking lots of pictures. So yeah, because I just feel like Japan is, like, such a beautiful country, especially all the pictures that I see. And I watch a lot of J-bloggers, Japanese bloggers, or people who live in Japan, married to a Japanese husband or Japanese wife or stuff like that. I watch people like, not all of them are married. Some of them are there for, like, university and end up staying. I watched Mime, I watched Charlotte in Japan, June and Rachel, which is an American woman married to a Japanese guy, which I do like that channel. Yeah, there's, like, so many other channels that I like to watch. Also, liking any of this stuff doesn't make you, unless you're trying to act like one, which I kind of find myself sometimes doing, like, the bows and stuff, or, like, you know, the gestures that they do, you know, like the Asians, like Japanese people, or just Asians in general. I don't think that makes me, like, a weeaboo, which a lot of people translate weeaboo, I guess, to want to be Japanese, like somebody who wants to be Japanese so bad. But I don't want to be Japanese. I just love their culture. Just kind of obsessed with it, I guess. But yeah. I wouldn't even say that I'm a weeaboo. I just enjoy many things and aspects of the subculture, or the culture. Sorry. It's, like, late at night. Alright, Japan TV shows, aka Japan drama, which I have recently gotten into within the past year or 2 years. This is second year, because within this year of 2015 I started getting into Korean drama and Taiwan drama, which I love Korean drama a lot, so because I'm also learning Korean, so yeah. I'm what you call like I tend to be like an easy learner. I can pick up things quick, usually when learning a language, like learning how to speak it. I may not be able to like read like their letters, like Korean letters or Japanese letters, but when I hear it, I can speak it, because I can speak more fluently when it comes to listening and watching, stuff like that. So, for the TV shows, Japan drama, the first drama that I watched was based off an anime/manga, because most Japan dramas that I have seen are based off an anime/manga. So the first one I think I watched was called Hanayori Dango, which they also made a anime series out of it, which looks like it came out in the 90s. Not sure when in the 90s, but they had the anime and they had the manga. Basically, it's about a school of rich kids, and there's a poor student there that goes there by the name of Makino Sushi. And basically, she's trying to just make it through that school of rich kids, quietly, without, causing any trouble or drawing any attention to herself. But, the school is run by 4 boys, rich boys. Like, I would say they have more money than the rich kids there at school. It's maybe because their parents paid off the school to let them basically run the school. They don't have to go in there in a uniform or anything. The first of the boys is Domyoji Tsukasa, and basically he is an heir to a group called Domyoji World Finance Group, which is like really big in Japan supposedly, from what I saw in the drama. And then there's Hanazawa Rui, which Makino also, he ends up liking him, although Domyoji ends up liking Makino only after she tells him off and punches him in the face. But anyway, Hanazawa Rui is hold on. I've seen the drama, but I have to write stuff down so I can remember. Oh, also, the other name that goes by is Boys Over Flowers, which they also made a Korean drama off of it, and they made a Taiwan drama off of it too. So yeah, there's that. But the only part of it is the one who plays Domyoji, which is also part of the band I listen to called Arashi. His name is Matsumoto Jun. Him and the girl who plays Makino, Inoue, are the only 2 that have actually hooked up after the show, whereas, other people in the drama, like the Korean drama, Lee Min-ho did not fall in love with the character in that one, or, I haven't even tried seeing the Taiwan dramas. I can't. But yeah. Now back to Hanazawa Rui, which is, part of S4. He is the introverted son of a large company, so he's pretty rich too. And then there's the other guy, Nishikawa Sojiro, a player who is an heir of a tea ceremony. So he's a player when it comes to girls. And then Nimasaka Akira, a madam killer with ties to the underground. Basically, in that school, anybody that goes against the group S4 gets a red notice. Like, he or she gets a red notice, and they tend to get bullied by everybody in the school, especially, just to run them out of school. basically one day Makino pisses off Domyoji because Makino's friend accidentally spills a tray of like food or drink on his shirt or something like that, and he gets pissed off and goes off on Makino's friend, but Makino basically tells him to stop, basically go easy on her, like it wasn't her fault, it was an accident. That didn't fly with Domyoji. So Domyoji, I guess, gave her, basically she got the red notice from F4, because it will say F4, you know, red notice, whatever. Yeah, so she ended up being the target. At first, his intention was to run her out of school, of course, by any means necessary, trying to get people to bully her. But she still ends up, like, toughening it out, going to school. He ends up pissing her off, and then she ends up declaring war. So, yeah, basically after she declares war, things go from there. So, that is one of the best dramas that I got into. And then there's dramas like Bloody Monday, which is another good Japanese drama to watch based off a manga, with actor Mira Haruma, who's the main character. Basically, he's a hacker who can hack into computers. He also does the live-action Attack on Titan, which came out this year. Plays the main character portrayed in the anime. Dramas like that. So yeah, the drama part of it is like one of the best parts. And then actually one of the other first ones I got into was Goku-sen, which is based off an anime / manga. A school of high school delinquents. There's a teacher that goes there. She comes from a family of Yakuza on her grandfather's side. And the people who work for her grandfather, so they want her to badly like join them and be like part of Yakuza, but she just wants to be a teacher. So she ends up teaching the school of delinquents to help them graduate high school. So, yeah, those are the many reasons I want to go to Japan. But not the only reasons. There's like many other reasons to want to go to Japan. I would really like to enjoy the views though. And shopping. I would probably be shopping so much. Especially in Tokyo. Like the Harajuku shopping places, or like going to Disney in Japan. So yeah, I would also like to go to like a lot of Japanese concerts, like J-rock concerts and stuff like that. Although I would not suggest you go there if you're just going there because you like anime. That's really frowned upon. They would also like it if you respect their culture too. So that's one of the big things. Even though not a lot of them like weeaboos or otakus. What I meant, otakus. People who love anime. Yes, you'll make friends in Japan, but I wouldn't suggest just going there for that. Yeah. I've actually had some friends, and still do have some Japanese friends in Japan right now. But most of my friends actually know how to speak English and speak English to me. So, yeah, I had this really best friend when I was in high school on Facebook. No fake pictures, real pictures. Anyway. His name was Max Zenjiro. He's like the greatest friend. I could talk to him about anything. I think at that time he was just a little bit older than me. I think he was like in university though. But yeah, we just talked about like random things. Like, we just talk about anything. I thought of him like a brother. That's basically how I thought of him. Even though I kind of had a little crush, but you know, oppa or senpai. But yeah, those are my reasons I want to go. So yeah, and if you have wanted to go to Japan, list your reasons in the comments below, and I'll be sure to comment or read those comments. I may not comment right away, but I do read all my comments really good on YouTube, so if you think I haven't read it, don't worry, I've read your comments. But yeah, I'm really interested to see if there is anybody that has any interests like that, like I do, especially the Lolita, because I love Lolita fashion. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to comment, subscribe if you already haven't, and I'll see you guys next time. Sayonara.